No one believed the whispers until the chilling evidence surfaced. In the mid-1970s, America was witnessing a wave of freedom and change, yet hidden behind that promise of progress was a nightmare that would forever scar the nation. Today we dive into the disturbing story of Ted Bundy, a man whose disarming charm concealed a monstrous secret. The case is as perplexing as it is horrifying. Bundy confessed to 30 homicides across 7 states between 1974 and 1978, a chilling record that left law enforcement and the public reeling. But how could someone who appeared so ordinary, even friendly, be capable of such unthinkable brutality? From the very start, investigators were baffled. Reports of missing young women began to emerge in the Pacific Northwest, and the community was gripped by fear. Witnesses described a courteous man, someone who smiled, engaged in casual conversation, and even offered help when needed. Yet behind that friendly facade lay a predator who exploited trust and vanished without a trace. As detectives struggled to connect the dots, evidence slowly began to pile up. Patterns emerged from the chaos, a specific type of victim, similar circumstances surrounding each disappearance, and a killer who knew just how to blend into everyday life. Experts in criminal behavior later pointed to Bundy's unnerving ability to compartmentalize his life, allowing him to maintain an image of normality even as he committed heinous acts. Witnesses would later recall how Bundy's charm disarmed even the most cautious individuals. A young woman, recounting her encounter years after the fact, mentioned how his warm smile and gentle demeanor made her feel safe. So safe that she never imagined the horror that would follow. This ordinary interaction was all part of his strategy, a calculated move to lure victims into a trap from which there was no escape. The investigation was hampered by the limitations of the era. Without today's advanced forensic techniques, detectives relied on painstaking interviews, physical clues that could easily be dismissed, and a network of law enforcement spread thinly across state lines. The case quickly morphed into a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, with Bundy slipping through the cracks time and time again. Then came the dramatic twist that shocked everyone: Bundy's multiple escapes from custody. In one instance, he managed to vanish from a courthouse, leaving behind a trail of confusion and shattered trust in the system. Each escape not only deepened the mystery but also cast doubt on the ability of law enforcement to apprehend a man who was both intelligent and dangerously cunning. The breakthrough came during a series of interviews after his final arrest. In a chilling calmness, Bundy began to confess the unspeakable details of his crimes. His voice was measured, almost detached, as he recounted his methods and the twisted logic behind his actions. It was in these moments, the pauses, the silence between his words, that the true horror of his nature was laid bare. Experts would later analyze these confessions, noting how Bundy's explanations seemed less like remorse and more like a disturbing rationale. He spoke of control, of the thrill of the hunt, and of an inner darkness that he claimed was simply part of who he was. These revelations forced both investigators and the public to confront a grim reality. Evil often wears the mask of normalcy. In the courtroom, Bundy's duality was put on full display. His trial became a spectacle, a grim theater that showcased a man oscillating between calculated confidence and eerie calm. Jurors and onlookers were left to wonder if they were watching a remorseless killer or a master of manipulation performing for an audience that could barely believe what they were witnessing. As the evidence mounted and the confessions poured in, the investigation finally closed in on the truth. Yet the mystery never fully unraveled. While Bundy was eventually convicted and executed, the case left behind a trail of questions that still haunt criminal psychology. Was Bundy born with an innate darkness, or was he molded by forces beyond his control? As we close this chapter on one of America's most notorious killers, the mystery lingers. An open loop that challenges us to look deeper, to question the faces we see, and to recognize that sometimes the most dangerous threats are the ones we never expected. Subscribe for more deep dives into true crime.